So when he gets overexcited, a little too much power.
No, that never happens.
Then I swoop in and go, wait a minute, put the brakes on this and talk about it and think about it. And because he has to live with me, being a typically passive-aggressive kind of person, who will threaten to maybe poison the beans or something. He capitulates. Okay, so he'll listen to it.
Poison the beans.
Hey, Warners, welcome to another episode of The Women Your Mother Warns You About. I'm Gina Tremarco.
And I'm Rachel Pitts.
And we are The Women Your Mother Warns You About. We are here at the Sales Gravy studio, which we never get a chance to actually be here together, even though we live in the same town. True. Here we are in this studio at Sales Gravy because Sales Gravy is our sponsor and we love them. And you know what? You know who's really behind being the sponsor of Sales Gravy is the woman who pays the bill for that podcast, which is Carrie Martinez, the CFO of Sales Gravy. Welcome to our show, Carrie.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
We are so glad to have you. We know how excited you are to be on this podcast because CFOs are the type of personality that they can't wait to be in the spotlight. Am I right?
So excited.
We appreciate you. We appreciate you writing the checks and being here today.
You're welcome.
Though it's probably not your favorite moment, but we're excited to learn more about you and what your role is with Sales Gravy and how you make everything work so well.
Yeah. In 5 minutes, can you sum it up how you make it all work here at Sales Gravy?
I pray a lot. And how do I make it all work? It is pure luck most of the time. I am just, it's like a duck on water and underneath. It's like this, just paddling away as fast as I can and herding all the cats, making sure operational wise, everybody has their mics, everybody has their cameras, everybody has whatever it is that they need to do the job. So
you're definitely, I hope this is not wrong to say, but you're like the mom here for us a little bit.
Could be. Yes. Because I'm praising people. I'm paying for everything. Sometimes I'm driving people around and then I'm also reprimanding people on a daily, sometimes hourly basis.
Yeah. I may have been reprimanded once or twice.
Sounds like a mom to me.
Yeah. You're also a good Jeb whisperer.
I try to be. I do my very best. And, I got a lot of years under my belt for that. So, that's how it works. So I've learned a lot of lessons along the way. And I can be a Jeb whisperer.
There's a lot that we could dive into that. We're not going to make it all about that because I really want to dive into how you got to this place in your career because I know a little bit about your background. But you and Jeb are very different and you have to work closely together to run an organization like this. And CFO's got to be tough. And then you got a guy like Jeb. And that is there's so much difference there. And do you think that helps that there's such a difference?
I think so. I think we're a good balance with each other, for each other. We couldn't have done it if we hadn't been together as long as we have. And I mean, long time. So, but I believe that fundamentally, we are on the same page. Mm-hmm. So our goals are the same. It's just how we get there that is sometimes different, a different track. So he's on the fast track of, he just thinks so fast and has his vision. And, that's wonderful because he is brilliant in the way that he thinks forward and knows what he wants to get to. Me, on the other hand, I'm a typical CFO type B personality, whereas he's a type A. And I am very methodical in the way I go about everything. So I think about it, sometimes overthink about it. But but it works well because I slow him down just enough and he speeds me up just enough so that we end up getting to the right place about the right time, about when it's supposed to happen. So that's really kind of how it works, in that, even though we're different, we have the same goal. It's just a matter of how we get there. Mm-hmm.
And that's a really good point for our listeners, that if it was two individuals just like Jeb, it might be too much power in one place. And if it was two people just like Carrie, it might be a little bit not enough energy. So when you're looking for someone to partner with in business, it's important to find that balance of somebody who brings you up or brings you down where you need it. So it's a really good yin-yang balance.
Exactly. I think that's, exactly how I would explain it, in that, yes, everything that we do is like that. And it just works. And as far as, being a whisperer, so when he gets overexcited, a little too much power.
No, that never happens.
Then I swoop in and go, wait a minute, let's put the brakes on this and talk about it and think about it. And because he has to live with me, being a typically passive-aggressive kind of person, who will threaten to, maybe poison the beans or something. He capitulates. Okay, yes, he'll listen to it.
Poison the beans. I'll remember that. Poison the beans.
Oh my God, that should be the name of the episode.
What do you think, Carrie, is the biggest change that you have seen in the Sales Gravy business from the very early days to fast forward right now?
Oh, the biggest change. Well, we have a lot more people working for us and with us now. That would be a huge change. But maybe what it is that what I think is amazing is that it started off as a job board way back in 2006. And it was just a website that Jeb was, he built it. I don't say just, that was a huge thing for him to learn. But he built it starting in 2006, just free time. And he decided he would have a job board to help salespeople find jobs. And so it went from that, and several years being a job board / kind of marketing, advertising type business, to a full-on sales consulting, sales training, a whole different animal. So I think that is the biggest change, is that, what we evolved into. And now we, employ so many people to help us and to make this business go. So I think that would be the biggest, is that we started off one thing and became something completely different in the end.
And here's some words from our sponsor, Jeb Blount at Sales Gravy.
Hi, this is Jeb Blount. There's a reason why thousands of sales professionals and top companies across the globe hone their sales skills at Sales Gravy University. You see, Sales Gravy University is different than most learning platforms. First, we have live courses taught in a virtual classroom by our master trainers that start almost every single day. And our e-learning platform is populated with hundreds of hours of sales training content produced by some of the top sales trainers in the world, including Gina's spontaneous selling course, which is worth checking out. Now, I've got some good news. If you've never taken a course on Sales Gravy University, if you're a new user, you can take your very first course for free. That's any course on the platform, absolutely free. Just go to learn.salesgravy.com. That's learn.salesgravy.com, or click the e-learning tab in the top menu at salesgravy.com. Pick out your course, and when you check out, use coupon code FREECOURSE to get that course for free. That is free course to get your very first course for free.
Speaking of Sales Gravy University, go check out salesgravy.university and see some of the courses that I'm teaching. Just scroll through the university and click on them and you will find me and sign up. I'd love to have you there. I think that goes back to I think we all feel this way. Like Jeb is brilliant and innovative and progressive, and he sees things and he takes it and he runs with it. Mm-hmm. And that's a lot of energy in a personality. We can relate. Rachel and I are a little bit similar to that. Someone's got to contain that energy or pull it in or rein it in.
Is that you? Or is that me?
I mean, you and I both need people who can handle us.
We need someone else to do that.
Yeah, we've had assessments done on us, and literally we're told that our personalities are so like we shouldn't share an office.
Wow. So we don't.
So
it's
we
like,
don't.
You know, when you put the live wires together is what happens.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah. We were just told like, don't share an office together because the personalities are too similar. So you have to know that you have to have that balance person, and you're that person who brings the balance. And, you know, in this show, we talk a lot about blending our lives as business women. Like we have the personal piece and we have the business piece, and we're trying to make it all work together. And at the end of the day, you got to go home with the person that you work with. It only makes it that much more, let's say, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And you've done it for quite some time now, but before you were at Sales Gravy, you've got a little bit of a psychology background.
Yes, you could say that. So I have a master's in mental health counseling. Mm-hmm. I wanted to go into the psychology field, but where we lived at the time when I got my master's degree, there wasn't a program nearby, and I was raising a small child. And so anyway, I went into the mental health counseling tract, and it helped a lot because in the early years, you know, with Jeb and I being such different personalities, there was a lot of conflict, as you can imagine, and being young and then having a child thrown into the mix, there was a lot of headbutting going on, a lot of, conflict. And, but then I got into this program, started to study, personalities and doing those assessment tests, and so it helped me figure out who I am and how I work. Mm-hmm. And I was able to identify him and how he works. And boy, that just made a huge difference in that I went, bingo, the light went on. And I said, okay, I need to handle this differently. Instead of fighting all the time, maybe I can make some changes in my own behaviors that will help him alter his behaviors. And it worked. It was a miracle. so it was amazing. And so that, I do believe, is the reason that we were able to just, after that point, work so well together.
I think that is so key, because we often, in our relationships, whether it's business or personal, we're trying to change others, when really if we focus on changing and managing our own emotions and personalities, then everything seems to get a little bit smoother. Even if the other person doesn't make the changes, you can at least manage or navigate. So what I'm hearing you saying is that for my next marriage, I should either have a degree in mental health or
not necessarily.
Or so Warners, you can take a second to rewind that about 2 minutes and go back to what Carrie started saying, which is really, it's in any type of partnership, whether it's personal or business, you really can't control what the other person does or says or how they are. You can control somewhat what you do. You can control what comes out of your mouth and how you respond to situations rather than react. And what Carrie is so eloquently saying is just work on yourself a little, and it makes your other relationships better, especially your closest relationships. 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. Because there are things, I know that I was contributing to the problem by, I'm Hispanic. So,
I wanted to go there. I'm so happy you opened the door.
I'm Hispanic. So, of course I have a fiery, even though I'm even keeled most of the time, there comes a point where I've had enough. And then, I just blow up and start, hollering and whatever. And that does not make it better.
hollering up in your...
Yeah, holla. Yeah, I relate as an Italian. I can be, and then Mount Vesuvius.
I don't really actually know what my background is in terms of my origin, but I never blow up.
No, you're an angel.
I'm calm and even keel all the time.
Mm-hmm. You are an angel.
Right. That is a joke. Go see Axes and X's. Our episode calls Axes and X's.
That was a good episode. Throwing axes at our exes. No, going axe throwing. And we talked about our exes. Because you said it's been a long time that you've been with Jeb. How old were you when you guys met?
When we met?
Yeah.
Oh boy, this is going to sound like
is this one of
hillbilly?
Were you the girl in high school that he talks about? Or is that a different girl?
Oh snap! I know you didn't just bring that up. Let's start over, Carrie. Why don't you tell us how you and Jeb met?
Well, I was 14.
Okay.
He was 16.
Ooh.
And it was high school, of course. And we dated sort of. I really wasn't allowed to go out on a date. So anyway, we talked for like 2 weeks. And then I said, nah. He won't like that.
The first rejection.
I said, nah. So I moved on, and then.
Wait a second. Why did you say no?
I don't.
Did he not have a car?
He did.
Oh, he had a car.
He had a car. I just thought he was maybe a little too
intense.
Yeah. Yes.
Even then,
I bet. He was very intense and very. I don't know. There was just something about it the whole situation. I said, nah. And I was only 14, so
Yeah.
So I didn't really talk to him much until I was a senior, and he was off at college, and he came home for a football game, and he saw me, and I was with my girlfriend, and anyway, he came up and he asked me to go to a Georgia football game with him, and I said, well, okay. So.
What changed your mind over time?
Well, I was older at that point, and I wasn't dating anybody, and he was older, and I said, well, I'll give it another shot.
Did he have a better car by then?
Yeah, a little bit better. A little bit better. Yeah. And he was in college.
He's a college. I'm dating a college guy.
Yeah, he was a little cuter. And
so we're saying timing is important.
It is very important. Very important. So that was, then we dated about a year, almost my entire senior year of high school. And then I went to college, and he was also at college. And I said, no. So I was that girl, and I went, no, I got things to see.
Oh my
gosh. So then it was another 5 years before
we
got back together, and neither one of us had finished, because I worked my way through college. And so I would take us, back then it was quarters. I would take a quarter off or so. And then I didn't finish. It took me I was on the 7-year plan. So Jeb was also apparently on a 5-year plan or something. And anyway, we ended up back at the same college finishing up, and we saw each other in a hallway, and lightning struck. And after that, we got married a year later.
And they say lightning never strikes 3 times, I think, or in the same place, or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, it did for us.
Well, it was always there.
It was always there, and it was just timing. So it was just little, and then it led up to the big. Once I'd had enough life experience, I thought at the time, I said, all right, it's time now. So
what a cool story. You made him work for it.
I did. And I think that's why he loves me so much.
And he pursued it.
That is like, it's like in sales. Sometimes it feels like the deal is taking forever. Mm-hmm. And then it gets
really, really want that client, or you really want to reach that goal, just keep chipping away at it, because you might just finally get that person to see it your way.
Right. So he considers it the best sales job he ever did. The best.
Well, for sure. It was the longest. It was the longest sales cycle ever.
Right.
That's a long sales cycle to get you.
It was.
There we go.
Well, thank goodness he did, because it seems like this operation runs like a well-oiled machine, and I think you might have something to do with that.
Maybe a little, just a little. Yeah. I write the checks. That's important.
That's really important. I'm going to stop by and see you later today to maybe get a check for something. I don't know what. I've got nothing coming to me right now, but I might ask you.
You can try.
I could. Real fast before we let you go, because we know you're busy. You transitioned from mental health care to CFO. Yes. How
little by little.
I mean, it's a big deal, especially for women in leadership and women in business in general, to go to that level into the C-suite. How did you make that transition happen? Well,
I call myself the accidental CFO because I started off just helping Jeb in the beginning, about 2009 with, he was overwhelmed with, trying to invoice customers, take phone calls. So I just started helping, and it was an in-between thing for me because we'd moved here from Florida and my license didn't transfer to practice mental health counseling. So I just started helping him, and then more and more and more. And I decided I didn't want to go back to counseling, and the business was important enough. He needed help, and I said, okay. So it was just incremental. And then next thing you know, I'm handling all the books, everything. It just grew into that. And so now that's what I do, is I just handle all the financial operations, everything, dealing with the operations side of the business.
And you do it.
He doesn't like it, so I do it.
You do it so well. You're so fitted for it. One last question we have before we let you go, and this is our one of our signature questions.
Carrie, how would you define the word sexy?
Oh. Wow. Okay. Somehow in the podcast, didn't remember that question. How would I define the word sexy? I would say, wow, intelligence, poise, kindness, forgiveness.
I was wondering if, you're describing Jeb clearly, and forgiveness is good, right? That's good. Forgiveness. Thanks for that one. Yeah. Everything else, I think, nails the man we think that you think that is the sexiest, right?
Sure. Thank you so much for being here with us today. I know we kind of pulled you into the show, so we really appreciate you being here.
Well, thank you for having me on. I enjoyed it.
You're so welcome. That's it for this episode of The Women Your Mother Warned You About, sponsored by Sales Gravy. Hey, you might need just a little extra oomph in your sales. Go check out Sales Gravy University, salesgravy.university. Go check that out. I'm Gina Tremarco signing off. Thank you, Warners.
Everything else you need to know, you can find at womenyourmotherwarnedyouabout.com.
Bye, Warners.
This really will get serious soon.
Yeah, it doesn't have to. I don't think anybody wants it to be serious.
Poison the beans.